Namaskar, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, students and scholars, teachers and trainers, professors and professionals, the most honorable President Prince Modi ji, respected ministers and managers, adorable doctors and directors, I heartily, cordially welcome all of you. Today, you are listening from the Holy Land, Sirsa. And we are appreciating our in the form of unity in diversity. Our all spiritual starters, beginners, initiators, creators, those who came in India, they started their spiritual journey from this holy land. Let us admire in words. Actually, it is inexpressible. Words fall short in praise of such holy places, where our great men, freedom fighters, free thinkers came to address the message of oneness, equality and unity. Let us see what is happening around the world. Today it is 20th of January 2025. Prime Minister issues 65 lakh property cards in 12 states and UTs. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday distributed over 65 lakh property cards to rural families in more than 50,000 villages across 12 states and UTs under the centers Swamitwa survey of villages and mapping with improvised technology in village areas scheme. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday distributed more than 65 lakh property cards to rural families in more than 50,000 villages across 12 states and union territories under the centers Swamitwa survey of villages and mapping with improvised technology in village areas scheme. He said rural digitization was now furthering rural empowerment by leveraging the power of technology and good governance. The Swamitva scheme was launched in 2020 to provide a record of rights to families buying houses in villages through surveys using the latest drone technology. The Union government said this was to enhance rural India's economic progress as it would facilitate monetization of properties and enable institutional credit through bank loans, reduce property-related disputes, facilitate better assessment of properties and property tax in rural areas, and allow comprehensive village-level planning. Around 2.24 crore beneficiaries in villages will now have Swamitwa property cards after 65 lakh cards are distributed today. Mr. Modi said, adding that the challenge of property rights was a global one that even the United Nations has recognized. India was also impacted by this challenge. People in villages have property worth lakhs of crores of rupees, but they did not have papers for it. There were disputes, properties were snatched, and even banks did not provide loans over it. Mr. Modi said, highlighting that the worst sufferers of these issues were Dalits, backward classes and tribals. Previous government should have taken steps to do something about it, but nothing much was done, the Prime Minister added. Just before his address and the distribution of property cards, the Prime Minister also interacted with select beneficiaries of the scheme. Mr. Modi said they had now come on to the path of financial security because of this scheme. Will add capital, speaking on the potential of the scheme once it achieves its objective of issuing property cards in all villages. The Prime Minister said it would unlock economic activities worth more than 100 lakh crore rupees in the coming years, and added that substantially capital would then be added to the country's economy. He also credited the Bahu Aadhaar system for empowering rural India. With around 23 crore such identification numbers is issued so far, making it easy to identify land plots. The beneficiaries who received their property cards on Saturday included people from the states of Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Mizoram, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh, and from the Union Territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Haryana Minister Which said State BJP Chief Badoli should quit. News from Chandigarh, Press Trust of India. Haryana Minister Anil Viz on Saturday said State BJP Chief Mohanlal Badoli, who was booked in a gang rape case, should resign from the post to maintain the sanctity of the party till he is found innocent. Mr. Badoli and singer Rocky Mittal were booked after a woman alleged that she was raped by them in a hotel in Himachal Pradesh. The police had registered an FIR against them in Kasoli, Southern District on December 13, 2024. Parandur Airport project visit to meet protesters tomorrow. Villagers have been protesting for over 900 days against the acquisition of farmland for Chennai's second airport project. News from Chennai, the Hindu Bureau. Kerala Governor's policy address suggests shift in Raj Bhavan government political dynamics. Maharashtra forms panels to safeguard ancient fort. Rajnath visits Mahakund, takes a holy dip at Sangam. Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Saturday participated in the Mahakumbh Mela in Prayagraj. He offered prayers and performed in Ganga Aarti. Mr. Singh, a native of Uttar Pradesh, was accompanied by BJP Rajya Sabha member Sudhanshu Trivedi and other party leaders. The Defence Minister began his visit with a holy dip in the sacred waters of the Triveni Sangam, confluence of the rivers Ganga, Yamuna and the mythological Saraswati. He also performed rituals at neighboring holy sites such as Akshaya Wat, Patalpuri Temple, Saraswati Kund and Hanuman Temple. New BJP chiefs appointed in Himachal Pradesh, Goa. Dust, despair, settled on Rashtra Chin Chavli village as squaring continues unabated. India-Bangladesh farmers clash at international border. Argument started at Sukhdepur outposts where BSF and BGB had differences recently over fencing after Indian farmers accused neighbors on the other side of stealing their crop. Malnourished children get special ration. From Ranchi, more funds for education help likely in Rajasthan. From Jaipur, US restores Y category security of Balian. From Lucknow, interministerial team to probe cause of ministerial deaths in Jammu's Rajouri says Amit Shah from New Delhi. Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Saturday ordered the constitution of an inter-ministerial team led by the ministry to visit and ascertain the cause of mysterious deaths in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri district over the past 6 weeks. Gujarat's PMJAY deaths hospital chairman held. News from Ahmedabad Press Trust of India. The police have arrested the chairman of a private hospital in Gujarat, Ahmedabad. A confluence of faith and cultures. Mahakumbh. The 45-day gathering of Hindu ascetic saints has smeared Naga sadhus, skeleton donning aghoris and other pilgrims is expected to have a footfall of 450 million this year, nearly twice the population of Uttar Pradesh, India's most populous state. Ishikansa, Monday, January 13, marked the first day of 45-day-long Mahakumbh in Prayagraj, listed by UNESCO as the largest peaceful religious congregation of pilgrims on earth. Here, devotees walk miles to take a dip at Sangam, the convergence of the holy rivers Ganga and Jamuna and the mythical Saraswati. The fair is visited by Hindu ascetics, saints, ash-smeared Naga sadhus, skeleton-toning aghoris, and other pilgrims. It is expected to have a footfall of 450 million this year, nearly twice the population of Uttar Pradesh, India's most populous state. Kumbh derived from a Sanskrit word, which means the picture is rotationally held every 3 years at the four riverside cities of Prayagraj, Haridwar, Ujjain and Nashik. Its schedule is based on the planetary alignment mainly of that of Sun and Jupiter. The Earth's Kumbh is held every 6 years at Haridwar and Prayagraj, while the Purna complete Kumbh takes place in all 4 cities every 12 years. The Mahakumbh happens after travel Purna Kumbh in Prayagraj once in 144 years and is considered the most auspicious. Mythological beliefs say that drops of Amrit, agents of immortality, were spilled at these sites from an urn which came out during the Samudra Manthan, churning of the ocean, done by the gods and demons. The central ritual of the fair remains bathing in icy, called waters of the sacred rivers, where millions immerse themselves with the belief that the act will cleanse them of their sins and liberate them from the cycle of birth and death and will attain spiritual liberation. A gathering of ascetics, religious texts also link Kumbh Mela's origins to the 8th century philosopher Adi Shankaracharya, who established this practice of gathering of ascetics from across the country for discussion on religion. It was Shankaracharya who instituted the monastery system, and the 13 akhadas were with the same sects. Rani, Atal, Niranjani, Anand, Juna, Ahvan and Agni, Mohi, Digambar, Arni and Nirvani, and the two Udasin Akharas and the Nirmala Akhara, the saints from these sects who sports weapons such as tridents, swords and lances are the main attraction at the Kumbh. The latest in the line of Akharas is the Kinna's Transgender Akhara, established in 2015 by transgender rights activist Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi. The Akhara is still competing for space between the community of religious leaders, but remains one of the most visited Akharas in Kumbh. The Akhara used the fair as an opportunity to elect their chiefs and divide powers at its council meeting called the Dharam Sansad. This year, the meeting scheduled on January 27 may pass a proposal for the formation of a Sanatan board, a board dedicated to safeguard the Hindu religious sites, which will be sent to the government with a request for implementation. The Shias have already placed wishes such as no entry for Muslims and non-Hindus at the Kumbh, which was partially supported by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, who says that those who don't believe in Sanatan Dharma should not visit the event. Mahatma Gandhi had visited the Kumbh Mela in 1918. Political parties today capitalize on this event to win over Hindus. The fair was also used by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad to choke out the pavilion for the Ram Temple construction in Ayodhya in 1989. With the BJP being in power at the center and state, this year's Kumbh is one of the most well-funded religious gatherings being held in the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dubbed it as a Mahayagya of Unity. Mahayagya of Unity, as the center approved a special grant of 2,100 crore credits, about 7,500 crore rupees, was devoted to ensure proper logistics to host millions. A sprawling tent city has been carved out within the limits of Prayagraj district spread across approximately 4,000 hectare area and divided into 25 hectare sectors. 12 ghats for watching a large group of bureaucrats were deployed at the site to ensure smooth management of the fair. The airport was expanded to accommodate more flights while the Indian Railways has announced that it will run 13,000 trains to Prayagraj to ensure maximum devotees arrive at the Kumbh, putting immense pressure on the town which exceeds its carrying capacity. Every time the fair is organized in the 2019 Kumbh, this gathering generated 18,000 metric tons of solid waste. Approximately 1,60,000 tent shelters have been constructed this time to accommodate 15 to 20 lakh Kalpvasis. Devotees who spend around a month in the fair living a minimalistic life, although the tents are free for the Kalpvasis, they do bear the brunt of rocketing price of groceries, travel and other treats. Apart from the cubicle-shaped hiking tents for Kalpvasis, the government had also set aside luxury cottages across the Sangam bank to drive tourism. These cottages cost 50,000 rupees to 1 lakh per night. With 1,50,000 toilets, deployment of police officers, hospitals, banks and antennas, the state has not left any stone unturned to make the Mahakumbh an event like never before. The fair has gigantic posters of the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister, advertising screens and achievements of the BJP government, including the LPG screens, Swachh Bharat, solar energy, among others. Business opportunities. The fair presents business opportunities to both local sellers as well as multinationals who set up kiosks to expand business from the Domino's to Cafe Coffee Day, from RBI to SC and from medicines to clothes, agricultural products and gadgets. The Mahakumbh has a stall selling everything. The state had projected to generate up to 2 lakh crore rupees from this 45-day long gathering, which will end on February 26, with millions gathering at the river's banks. The Kumbh Melas had seen accidents such as stampedes in the past, which led to the deaths of hundreds of pilgrims, with the humongous football at the side. Incidents of missing cases to have become synonyms with the fair. Several Bollywood movies have drawn their plots from the Kumbh, where heroes get separated from families at the fair and then dramatically reunited decades later. After the end of the gathering, Sangam city will once again turn into a barren land which will be used by the farmers to grow melons and children to play, leaving the sand banks to wait for another Kumbh to feel lively again. Activists, shop sailors, Nate Anderson, known for investigative reports on publicly listed companies, the founder of Hindenburg Research, says he is disbanding the group. Anderson, activist, short seller, and founder of Hindenburg Research, has decided to disband the US-based investment research group known for its investigative reports on publicly listed companies in a note shared on the Hindenburg website, he addressed the speculation on what triggered the move. The plan has been to wind up after we finish the pipeline of ideas we were working on, and as of the last Ponzi cases we just completed and are sharing with regulars that day is today. Short sellers are arrayed. Greed in general and in red has been a bullish market for the past several years. Even more so, Mr. Anderson, with a small team of 11 people, built Hindenburg into a reputed research group that has caused over 100 individuals, including billionaires, to be civilly or criminally charged and wiped out billions of dollars in companies' market values. The son of a college professor and a nurse, Mr. Anderson obtained a business degree and started off with a job providing technical and sales advice to financial analytics companies. Subsequently, he moved on to auditing and verification of potential deals for investment funds of wealthy families, but all along he had nursed a singular passion on icing scams. Aware of this, translating it into a full-fledged career would not be easy. He set up a brokerage firm that did due diligence for hedge funds while pursuing forensic financial research in his personal time. But as his brokerage firm failed to take off, debts mounted and he faced eviction by his landlord. Mr. Anderson sold his brokerage license and in 2017 plunged into his passion by setting up Hindenburg. First major success, short selling involves borrowing the shares of a given company and selling them in expectation that its price would fall. And when its price duly fell, bring them back at the lower price and pocketing the difference as profit. The magnitude of the losses of the shortened share prices short instead of taking are potentially unlimited. Mr. Anderson's first big success came with Nikola, the maker of electric trucks. Hindenburg claims that management was lying about the technology status of its product. It famously exposed the fact that its truck, which in a video seemed to be cruising at good speed, was actually rolling downward on a slope in neutral gear. Nikola's shares plunged 15%. Its chairman was charged with securities fraud, and Hindenburg made a killing on its short positions. He famously took on the billionaire oligarch Elon Musk by announcing a short position on Twitter following Mr. Musk's deal to buy the social media firm. Mr. Anderson bet that Mr. Musk would walk away from the deal. When 4 days after the agreement, Mr. Musk tried to do just that. Hindenburg made money. When the case went to court, Hindenburg covered its short and went long, believing that Musk's argument for breaking out once when they did not, and as Mr. Musk closed the deal at the originally agreed price. Hindenburg joined yet again. Mr. Henderson made news in India for the first time in January 2023 when Hindenburg alleged that the Adani Group was using entities registered in Mauritius to perpetrate stock manipulation and accounting fraud. The Adani Group has denied the allegations. Hindenburg hit the headlines again last August when it alleged that the Securities and Exchange Bureau of India, SEBI, Chief Madhavi Bach and her husband held stakes in offshore funds linked to the Adanis. Return of the Begum Khaleda Jia, the BNP politician who has been acquitted in a corruption case, is now back in the limelight as her party is preparing for the next election in Bangladesh. Kalol Bhattacharya, early morning of May 13, 1981, clouds from the Bay of Bengal last Chittagong, Sura, heavy little patter of rain on the roof of the circuit house of Chittagong President George Rahman heard the source of gunfire remain of action, known for his bravery as a Pakistani soldier in the 1965 India-Pakistan war and later as a nationalist officer who rebelled against the Pakistan army in 1971. Rahman was not someone to hide. Dressed in his night suit, Rahman came out to check the source of the gunfire and just then a hail of bullets repeatedly sliced him into two halves. The killer, however, failed in their plot to seize power as Abdus Sattar, a seasoned political figure, quickly took charge as president with Army Chief Hossein Mohammad Irshad's support. It was in this dramatic situation that Khaleda Jia, widow of Rahman, entered the political spectrum. She had reportedly fainted on hearing the news of the assassination of Rahman, but 2.5 years later, Ms. Jia took over from Abdul Sattar on January 13, 1984. Ms. Jia took charges of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party that was founded by Rahman. The death of Rahman also came at a critical time for the volatile country. On May 17, his daughter Sheikh Hasina returned to Bangladesh. Ms. Jia and Ms. Hasina came from different backgrounds. The former was the young wife of a Bengali officer in the Pakistani military, and Ms. Hasina was the daughter of a firebrand anti-Pakistan figure, but in 1984, the two emerged as leaders of the two political alliances that opposed President Arshad. Before ceasefire takes effect in Gaza, Yemen's fire missiles that reside from Jerusalem escaped deaths by a whisper, says Hasina on fleeing Dhaka, first west of India from New Delhi. Deports Bangladesh, where Mr. Sheikh Hasina had said she and her younger sister, Sheikh Rihana, escaped death by just 20 to 25 minutes on August 5. Last year, when her Awami League government was toppled in a student-led mass uprising, Germany may send troops to Ukraine, buffer zone from Berlin. Germany's defense minister said he was open to sending German soldiers to Ukraine to help secure a demilitarized zone there. It was ceasefire were agreed with Russia in the marks published on Saturday. Russia captures two more villages in eastern Ukraine. News from Moscow. Russia on Saturday said it had captured two more villages in eastern Ukraine, the latest territorial advances in its grounding offensive. South Korean leader argues for his release in court. Associated Press South Korea's impeached president on Saturday argued for his release before a CEO judge as the court reviewed whether to grant a law enforcement request for his formal arrest. India-Bangladesh farmers clash at international border. Inter-ministerial team to probe cause of mysterious deaths in Jammu's authorities. Amit Shah. UP restores white category security of Balyan, more funds for education, health likely in Rajasthan. Gujarat PMJAY. That's hospital chairman health. Malnourished children get special version. More funds for education, health likely in Rajasthan. The Hindu Bureau from Jaipur, the pre-budget consultation of Rajasthan Chief Minister Bhajan Sharma with the stakeholders from different sectors held here over the weekend have indicated at higher allocations for health and education in the 2025-26 budget. The budget session of the Assembly will be starting on January 31. Mr. Sharma laid emphasis on infrastructure development and better educational and healthcare facilities in the remote areas, besides outlining a comprehensive roadmap for improving the healthcare facilities. Mr. Sharma said new measures would be launched for fast progress of tribal-dominated regions. He also interacted with the Bharatiya Janata Party candidates who were defeated in the 2023 Assembly election and sought their suggestions on public welfare schemes and budgetary support for development of weaker sections. The government expressed their constant support in its endeavors, he said. More recruitment in his interaction with medical experts, the Chief Minister said. The government had taken several steps during the last 1 year to improve medical facilities. There are plans to recruit 50,000 medical personnel in the near future, while a vast progress was being made for making Rajasthan a hub of world-class medical facilities, he said. Mr. Sharma said the common people were getting cashless medical treatment up to 25 lakh rupees through the Ayushman Arogya Yojana. Pediatric packages had been developed for treatment of infants. 8 lakh senior citizens were getting free care facilities and pregnant women were receiving free sonography services at authorized private centers. The development of the tribal dominated areas in southern Rajasthan, Mr. Sharma said the people in the region were getting the government's assistance at every step, ranging from basic needs to the opportunities for progress. Will the ceasefire in the Gaza Strip hold? How did Israel and Hamas come to an agreement? Why did it take 15 months for a deal? What will it entail? What role did Qatar, Egypt and the US play? How will it affect other countries in the region? How will things change with Trump in the White House? Arab and Israeli media claim that the Trump factor played a key part. The story so far, after 15 months of fighting, which was triggered by Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack in which about 1,200 people were killed. Israel and Hamas have accepted a ceasefire in Gaza on Saturday, Israel's 24-member cabinet gave approval to the agreement, which is expected to be implemented in three phases. The deal, which came into force on Sunday, was reached in talks mediated by Qatar, Egypt, and the US. If it halts, it would provide a desperately needed relief for Gaza. The tiny state along the Mediterranean Sea, which was relentlessly bombed by the Israeli Defense Force (IDF) over the past 15 months, in which over 46,000 Palestinians were killed and almost the entire population of the enclave displaced. Why are fertility levels declining in India? What has global studies shown about the total fertility rate in India? Why are certain states worried? The story so far: comprehensive demographic analysis of global fertility in 204 countries and territories from 1950 to 2021 has found that fertility is declining globally and that future fertility rates will continue to decline worldwide, remaining low even under successful implementation of pro-natal policies. What I did noted about India: the global burden of disease, injuries, and the risk factor study 2021 noted that India has moved from a fertility rate of 6.18 in the 1950s to a total fertility rate of 1.9 in 2021. This, it pointed out, was below the replacement fertility level of 2.1. The steep fall in fertility levels has triggered concerns about the political and socio-economic fallout, especially in the southern states, which fear the loss of parliamentary seats post the delimitation exercise in 2026. Why is fertility falling even though the country has had one of the oldest birth control or family planning programs, increased female literacy, workforce participation of women, women's empowerment, and improved aspirations could have contributed more to the steady drop in fertility rates over the decades than the faithful adoption of family planning initiatives. The decline in fertility rate has also a lot to do with changing societal attitudes towards marriage and reproduction, with women increasingly exercising their choice. They often prefer to marry late or not at all, often choosing career and financial independence over motherhood. Rising rates of infertility in both men and women and abortions are important factors which could be contributing to this decline in fertility, so no absolute data is available, with an increasing number of young men and women opting to go abroad for higher studies and jobs and choosing to settle down, raise their families there. Migration is another key factor that could be in play when one considers the declining fertility levels. What are the implications? Declining fertility rates have resulted in a rapid demographic transition in many southern states. The consequences of this: an aging population, a declining young workforce, and increased demands on healthcare and social security measures for the care of an increasing population of the elderly are being acutely felt in states such as Kerala. Migration of youngsters in search of better prospects is also an issue. What is happening in the southern states? There is concern over the irreversible fertility decline across the country, but more so in the southern states where fertility rates have dropped below the replacement levels much earlier than the rest of India. Led the demographic transition in the south, achieving the replacement level fertility rate in 1958, with the other four states achieving this by mid-2000, along with education and women's empowerment and development in the social and health sector, which were the hallmark of Kerala's high human development index. The state has also seen low economic investments and growth. Educated youth are leaving the state. The proportion of the aged population is expected to surpass that of children, 23% in 2036. Changed attitudes towards marriage and motherhood are beginning to reflect in the health of women, leading to an increasing proportion of older mothers and pregnancy-related morbidities. Kerala's high labor wages and high quality of life index are attracting internal migration from other states to supplant a shrinking workforce. The State Planning Board reckons that by 2030, the proportion of migration labor could be close to 60 lakh, about 1/6 of the state's population. What is the way forward? Fertility decline is almost always irreversible and the graph. Once it starts going down, may never bounce back. Countries like South Korea would start to stem the demographic crisis by coming in. Millions have failed and the fertility rate plunged from 0.78 in 2022 to 0.73 in 2023. Demographers suggest that socio-economic policies and propel the growth of the economy, improve job prospects for the youth and tap the potential of a growing population of senior citizens can help in reducing the impact of a long spell of low sub-replacement level fertility rates on countries. Can Bhopal be safely disposed of? What is the plan on the hazards gas leak waste? Government to incinerate the waste and deposit the residue at a landfill in Pitambur. Why have there been protests? The US Environmental Protection Agency says composite liners at landfills with hazardous waste will degrade and have to be reinstalled at internals. COVID-19 vaccine failed to alter neuro symptoms of long COVID. While vaccination decreases the severity of acute COVID-19 and the rate of hospitalization and death, it does not alter the subsequent neurologist manifestations of long COVID. While COVID-19 vaccination decreases the severity of COVID-19 disease and the rate of hospitalization and death, a study published recently has found that vaccination prior to SARS-CoV-2 infection does not necessarily reduce the neurological manifestation and burden of long COVID. This includes patients who had a severe infection that necessitated hospitalization and those with a mild infection who did not require hospitalization. Common neurological symptoms of long COVID includes brain fog, numbness and tingling headache, dizziness, problems with smell and taste, and intense fatigue. At the beginning of the study, the author hypothesized that since COVID-19 vaccine reduced the severity of COVID-19 disease, the vaccine may also similarly reduce the neurological manifestation of subsequent long COVID. But the findings of the study have shown a surprise. While vaccination decreases the severity of acute COVID-19 and the rate of hospitalization and deaths, The sobering conclusion of our study is that vaccination prior to infection did not alter the subsequent neurological manifestation of long COVID in a clinical population. The authors write the study was published in the journal Brain Communications. We aim to identify what effects, if any, vaccination prior to infection has on neurological symptoms of long COVID, as well as the quality of life and cognitive function of our patients. These findings are sobering since it shows that vaccination prior to infection does not reduce the neurological manifestations of long COVID. It was unique from modern Western medicine, and the corresponding author of the paper said in a release. The study recruited the first 1,300 patients with neurological symptoms of long COVID at the Northwestern Medicine Bureau COVID-19 clinic between May 2020 and March 2023. Of the 1,300 participants enrolled in the study, 200 participants have been previously hospitalized for severe COVID-19, while the remaining 1,100 participants had only mild COVID-19 symptoms that did require hospitalization. Besides grouping the patients based on the severity of the disease requiring hospitalization, the authors also looked at the timing of infection, breakthrough infection post-vaccination, and infection prior to vaccination. Based on the quantitative metrics used to assess the quality of life, the study found that patients in both groups, those with severe disease requiring hospitalization and those with a mild disease not requiring hospitalization, had impaired quality of life in cognitive, fatigue, sleep, and anxiety, and depression, immaterial of whether the infection had occurred post-vaccination, breakthrough infection, or before vaccination. The study found that patients in both groups, severe disease requiring hospitalization and mild disease not requiring hospitalization, with breakthrough infection had more frequent pre-existing depression and anxiety than their respective pre-vaccination and infection groups. Also, patients with mild disease not requiring hospitalization due to breakthrough infections that more frequent comorbidities of headache, lung, and gastrointestinal disease than those with infection before vaccination. An average of 10 months after symptom onset, brain fog 86.5%, numbness or tingling 56.5%, and headache 56.5% were the three most common neurological symptoms in patients with severe disease requiring hospitalization. For patients with mild disease not requiring hospitalization, the three most common neurological symptoms were brain fog, headache, and dizziness. Patients who have mild disease caused by breakthrough infection more frequently reported dizziness compared to pre-vaccination infection patients. The study found that patients developing neurological symptoms of long COVID after breakthrough infection have a higher burden of comorbidities than those with pre-vaccination infections. According to the authors, this highlights different risk factors warranting targeted management. Further longitudinal studies are warranted to determine the long-term outcome of neurological symptoms of long COVID patients with breakthrough infections and pre-vaccination infections did not. In another paper published in November 2024, the same team from Northwestern Medicine found that neurological manifestations of long COVID disproportionately affected young and middle aged adults regardless of COVID-19 severity. The study found that younger and middle-aged individuals accounted for 142 of 271 patients who were previously hospitalized for severe COVID-19 and 995 of 1100 patients with only mild COVID-19 symptoms that did require hospitalization, while there was a higher prevalence of comorbidities and abnormal neurologic findings in older patients. At 10 months from COVID-19 onset, there was significant lower prevalence of neurologic manifestations of long COVID in older patients. On the other hand, younger and middle-aged patients suffer from a higher burden of neurological symptoms of long COVID and cognitive dysfunction contributing to decreased quality of life. Long COVID principally affects adults in their prime, contributing to profound public health and socio-economic impacts, warranting dedicated resources for prevention, diagnosis, and interventions with right. RNA and RNA, not DNA, is the main cause of acute sunburn. The Hindu Bureau, over the years, we have been told that sunburn damages the DNA, leading to cell death and inflammation. However, a new study conducted on mice as well as human skin cells has found that is not the full truth. The researchers found that instead of the DNA, the acute effects of sunburn were actually caused due to damage to the RNA. The objective of the study was to describe the impact of UV radiation on the skin and what causes the damage. The researchers found the same skin response to UV radiation exists in both mice and human cells. The results of the study were published in the journal Molecular Cell. mRNA damage triggers a response in the ribosomes, protein complexes that read the mRNA to synthesis protein orchestrated by a protein known as Jack alpha. The so-called ribotoxic stress response. The new study shows the response can be described as a surveillance system within the cells which registers the RNA damage leading to inflammatory signaling and recruitment of immune cells, which then leads to inflammation of the skin. We found that the first thing the cells respond to after being exposed to UV radiation is damage to the RNA, and that this is what triggers cell death and inflammation of the skin. In mice exposed to UV radiation, we found responses such as inflammation and cell death, but when we remove the JAK gene, these responses disappear, which means that JAK plays a key role in the skin's response to UV-induced damage. Dr. Simon Becker-Jensen from the Department of Cellular and Molecular Medicine and he found that the first thing the cells respond to after being exposed to UV radiation is damaged. The first thing the cells respond to after being exposed to UV radiation is damaged. RNA, and that this is what triggers cell death and inflammation of the skin. In mice exposed to UV radiation, we found responses such as inflammation and cell death, but when we remove the JAK gene, these responses disappeared, which means that JAK plays a key role in the skin's response to UV-reduced damage. Dr. Simon Becker Jensen from the Department of Cellular and Molecular Medicine and a co-author of the study said in a release. He adds, you could say that everything depends on this one response, which monitors all protein translations occurring. The cells respond to the RNA damage, realizing that something is wrong, and this is what leads to cell death. Our work highlights ribosomes and the JAK gene as the most proximal stress signal sensor pair that kickstarts the well-established acute skin reactions to acute UVB irradiation. Our findings also indicate that there are different, or at least temporarily and phenotypically distinct roles for the RSRs. Ribotoxic stress response and DNA damage signaling in sun-exposed skin, which likely has implications for skin immunity and skin carcinogenesis, the author writes. Red meat consumption increases risk of dementia. Red meat consumption is an established risk factor for chronic conditions including cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. A new study has found that eating greater quantities of red meat, especially in processed forms, increase risk for dementia to those eating a daily average of 1/4 or more of a serving 3 ounces of processed red meats compared to those having less than 1/10 a serving each day had a 13% higher risk of developing dementia. Asteroid impact sulfur release less lethal in extinction. Most studies considered sulfur as the most crucial factor causing mass extinction of dinosaurs. But estimate of the volume of sulfate aerosols released from the vaporization of the impacted rocks in Mexico have varied widely. A new study used sulfur concentrations and isotopic composition from new drill records of impact rocks within the crater region combined with detailed chemical profiles across KBC boundary sediments around the world and found that the role of sulfur has been overestimated. Reasons for osteoarthritis risk in post-menopausal women. While hormonal changes associated with menopause have long been known to accelerate the development and progression of osteoarthritis, the biological mechanism of why this occurs was largely not known. A study discovered that loss of estrogen and progesterone promote extracellular matrix degradation and chondrocyte deterioration, while restoring these hormones to pre-menopause levels protected against cartilage degeneration. On the wing, do songbirds socialize during migration? The flight paths of migrating songbirds may not be entirely innate. A new study has found evidence from over 18,300 hours of recorded flight calls suggests songbirds may talk to other species as they migrate having social connections, and just maybe exchanging information about the journey. Using a machine learning tool allowed researchers to analyze 18,300 hours of acoustic recording to quickly detect the signature flight calls of 27 species. After identifying species, the team measured how often certain calls co-occurred in time, testing intervals of 15, 30, and 60 seconds. Regardless of this, they found associations between species than expected by chance alone. Looking to explain these associations, they found species, wing lengths, and similarity of their calls were the key factors. In contrast, birds that buddy up during stopovers were not maintaining those relationships in the air, and they were not necessarily flying with closely related species or birds that share their preferences for specific habitats. Development of lilies in children exposed to Zika in utero. The risk of motor and cognitive delay was significantly higher in children exposed to virus in utero. The Hindu Bureau, as per a prospective matched cohort study published recently, exposure to Zika virus while still in the womb can lead to a greater risk for neurodevelopmental delay in early childhood, even when children are born without any signs of congenital Zika syndrome. Compared with the control group, the risk of adverse outcomes in children exposed to the virus in utero was nearly threefold higher. Also, the risk of motor and cognitive delay was significantly higher in exposed children. According to the authors, recently studies have shown that Zika virus damages neural progenitor cells in the hippocampus, a reason crucial for learning, memory, cognition, response. Studies also found that language function of children was one of the most affected, with about 35% of children evaluated showing language delays. This study also found that the timing of maternal infection had a significant predictive risk factor. Children born to mothers who were infected during the first trimester had significantly higher risk of motor and cognitive delays than when mothers were infected during the third trimesters. In the study, no significant associations were found when comparing second and third trimesters of infection for both early and long-term outcomes. 44% of pregnancies wherein maternal infection occurred in the first trimester. At least one adverse event was identified in the child with 11.24 greater cohorts of adverse outcomes compared with children of mothers infected in the third trimester, the authors write. Though the study was conducted with participants who knew their Zika status in pregnancy through testing, according to estimates, nearly 80% of infected pregnant women show no symptoms. This complicates the identification of infected individuals, considering the large percentage of asymptomatic infections during pregnancy. The authors say the findings of the study underlines the importance of considering these cases despite challenges in identification, especially when they do not show Immediate symptoms, clinical manifestations in children can surface later, potentially leading to numerous undetected cases. This underscores the complexities in identifying asymptomatic cases, which may result in underestimating the total numbers of cases. To highlight the challenges in identifying symptomatic cases, they cite an example of a woman in the study who was infected 3 months before pregnancy but remained symptomatic throughout her gestation. Her infection came to light only when the child showed clinical sign of in utero exposure. This supports the hypothesis of prolonged viremia after the acute phase and the persistence of Zika virus in body compartments like semen did not. Without Voldemort, Harry Potter is just having a lovely day. Days, Valiance. In his very first literary fest in India, popularly children's author and comedian David Williams began with a loud proclamation to an audience filled with children. I am here to talk about my favorite subject, me. This very inflated sense of self remained a running joke through the delightfully interactive session at the Hindu Literature for Life, peppered with animated readings and hilarious audience interactions. We all feel different in one way or the other, and I want to say this to you kids out there. Difference is your superpower, never be afraid of that, he said. Mr. Williams' journey with writing children's books began with the title The Boy in the Dress, from when he made his debut on stage in the 1980s to when his sister dressed him in elaborate wigs and beautiful lashes. He recalled instances that proved as inspiration to his writings. One piece of advice I give you when you are writing your story, always think about the villains, because villains are very important. They often make the stories happen. Without Voldemort, Harry Potter is just having a lovely day at school. Reading made Abraham Varghese a doctor and an accidental writer. Reading made Abraham Varghese a doctor and an accidental writer. There is no way you can experience everything in the world, but through the medium of novels, you can live several different lifetimes. The only instrument that can stop time, the only instrument that can stop time is a novel, says the physician turned writer. He urges everyone to keep a journal to understand what one thinks. What was the moment that moved a renowned physician to become a writer? For the first session of the Hindu Literature for Life 2025, Abraham Burdish, author of best-selling novels such as The Current of Water, Cutting for Stone, and The Danish Partner, and a groundbreaking memoir, My Own Country, a doctored story, elaborated on the power of words to convey the human condition. In a talk, writing as a form of self-discovery sprinkled with anecdotes, references to favorite books, characters, and quotes. Dr. Varghese began by saying he is very much Dr. Varghese again. Dr. Varghese began by saying he is very much an accidental writer and that he achieved the pinnacle of his ambition when he became a doctor in 50 odd minutes. He explained how he came to be a doctor and a writer, some of the lessons learned along the way, and the journey from India to Ethiopia to the US. I am a big believer in how geography shapes one's destiny, he said. Love for reading, pointing out that the only thing going for him was that he loved to read. He mentioned some of his very early readings, influences, roughly from D.H. Lawrence's Lady Chatterley's Lovers, Somerset Maugham's Of Human Bondage, A.J. Cronin's The Citadel Eta, and how each led him on to other discoveries about his own capabilities of becoming a doctor and a writer. For example, he said the line Phillips saw humanity there in the roughs, the artist canvas, and he said to himself, this is something I can do when the protagonist of Human Bondage visits a hospital ward, hit him like a bolt of lightning. That was my calling to medicine, underscoring the magic that can happen between the reader and the writer. Mr. Varghese would go on to study medicine, first at Madras Medical College and then to Boston to specialize and eventually find himself baptizing in Tannash. Heading into the AIDS epidemic of the 1980s, this led to the birth of his writer's voice. He wrote a scientific article on the widespread and debilitating effects of AIDS on patients, which got a lot of attention, but he felt that the language of science did not begin to capture the headache of the journey. It didn't begin to capture his own grief and tragic experience of the families. And that was the moment I became a writer, to try and tell that story, he said, in a powerful message to the young in the audience, exhorting them to read. Dr. Varghese said, there is no way you can experience everything in the world, but through the medium of novels you can live several different lifetimes. Only instrument that can store time in the world is to Norway, calling writing a collaborative venture. He said it was imperative to read because the stories provide instructions for living, and we read in order to get those instructions. Dr. Vagish asked everyone to keep a journal and that he writes one to understand what I am thinking. I'm not entirely against Hinduism. Don't go correcting people from Chennai. I don't go around correcting people's English. And people famously think, writer, politician, Shashi Tharoor, as he discussed etymology, Indianism, creative insults by writers, his triest with strolls and memes with the chief executive officer of the Hindu, L.B. Navaneet, at his eponymous session, titled A Wonderland of Words, named after his book. Mr. Tharoor had tied his triest with words to his father, Chandran, who often challenged him with word games. He attributed the creation of a nascent session of the New York Times, what came to his father. My father was a self-taught man from a village in Kerala, where the standard of the English language was not too great. He read and subsequently fell in love with English. It is with love that is passed down to us. My father had a great zeal for life. When I was young, I was happy to escape into a book and ignore the world. He shook me out of it. He said, the author went on to speak about words and have made it to common Indians parlance, including non-veg. The Hindu launched surf and dive and lit fest. Sponsors. The Hindu Literature for Life event is presented by KIK India and is organized in association with Christ University. Associate partners LIC, Donnelly, Blue Star, Brigade Group. The event is supported by US Consultant, Chennai. Praskrita Kohli talks on tropes of romance, a devout book. Content creator, YouTuber, actor, and recently turned author Praskrita Kohli dons Rosella Stephen, Senior Associate Editor, The Hindu, at Literature for Life on Saturday. She spoke about how it has been for her to try different avenues and about diversification. On writing a novel Too Good to Be True, she said that she read her first romance novel when she was 28 years old. Ms. Kohli said her book is an extremely ordinary telling of a story about two people who, in her opinion, are beautiful. She mentioned that there was no right idea to start off the right way. If you are starting off, you might feel like you have to wait for the right idea, production, equipment and time, and even the right kind of experience. Shri Ram Narayan inspect audacious forms of devotion. Historian V. Shri Ram and Carnatic singer Ashwath Narayanan took an audience at the Hindu Literature for Life through the fearless expressions of Ninda Stuti, where saints and poets mock, provoke, and even accuse their gods to forge an intimate connection. Devotion in its most unrestrained form can be as audacious as it is heartfelt. Mr. Surinam highlighted how composers of the past had the liberty to write what they wanted to. This daring tradition and their inspiring modern expression showing that devotion at this core is a deeply personal relationship, one that allows for jest while rooted in unwavering love. Sex education must start young, says Lisa Mangaldas. Sex educator, author and entrepreneur Lisa Mangaldas during her session with filmmaker Latha Menon shared her enthusiasm about speaking on the topic of sex in a public setting. I pointed out that the shame that comes with even uttering the word is built within us from a young age. According to her, sex education needs to begin at a young age. When you tell your children falsehoods, that is inaccurate because you are uncomfortable with providing the answer, your child's sense of discernment is going to be impacted. She said she called for age appropriate language to educate kids. Music and spirituality can't be separated. We cannot separate music from spirituality, while Maestro L. Subramaniam said at the Hindu Literature for Life 2025, among the compositions of the great trinity of chematic music, all are based on praise of some god. Mr. Subramaniam, the creator of the global fusion concept and the Lakshmi Narayana Global Music Festival, said in a conversation with journalist and arts entrepreneur Akhila Krishnamurthy. Modern poetry put humans in place of God. Feelings of angst, dread, and alienation have found a distinct voice in modernist Tamil poetry, as in the literature of other languages. Poet Perum Devi said in conversation with Bhavan Shankaran how modern Tamil poetry and the Hindu literature for life on Saturday began. Shankar, who read that Thanipa Dolkar could be a pioneer of modern Tamil poetry, said it had been an audacity in content and expression. Poetry need not express only lofty ideas and emotions. It is more individualistic, humanistic, and can even be about human weaknesses, said Bhavan Shankar. Parundevi, citing a poem of Ganana Kruthan Massey Natras, explained how the human subject has increasingly replaced the locus of God, who became either absent or was reduced to a mere object. The Hindu Literature for Life 2025 streaming live. Literature enthusiasts can now tune in to the Hindu Literature for Life 2025 from the comfort of their homes anywhere in the world. The much awaited festival celebrating literature, arts and culture is being investigated live streamed on YouTube on January 19. Sessions will begin at 9:45 a.m. and go until 7:40 p.m. The session being held at the Sirmutha Concert Hall and News Live Literature for Life. Nothing lost, much gained with Tamil spirit of openness to diverse cultures. Author, journalist Nirmala Lakshman speaks of her book, The Tamils, a Portrait of Community, written over 5 years, drawing from a wealth of historical information, painstaking research, keen observations of the community, and detailed interviews to explore the identity of the community. Chennai, the Tamil Sangam poet Citadel Katana wrote, "It looks like a skilled man's work of art." This Jasmine Country, in the session titled This Jasmine Country, Nirmala Lakshman, chairperson, the Hindu group, discussed her latest book, The Tamils, a portrait of a community, with dancer and choreographer Anita Ratnam. The book is part of a series brought out by the Aleph Book Company portraying various communities in India, edited by David Dalida. Dr. Ratnam introduced the book about a community of 90 billion people as a reminder of the great and complex heritage called Tamilakam, as well as a message to the Hindi heartland that South India is far from a monolith. The Tamil people have given India and the world scientists, revolutionaries, political leaders, scholars, artists, industrialists, sportspersons, and Nobel Prize winners spread across the world now. The Tamil have left an indelible mark in every field, but who are the Tamils? What is the Tamil? Now or identity. Written over 5 years, Dr. Lakshman's book draws from the wealth of his historical information, painstaking research on keen observations of the community, and detailed interviews to explore the history and culture of the Tamil people over centuries. She weaves in her own personal story into the narrative as she was educated in English. In school, Dr. Lakshman said her mother insisted that has Tamil, she has a Tamil teacher at home. But we always had the consciousness of being Tamil, she said. You asked sleep. Dr. Lakshman begins her book from the storm age and travels quickly to the Sangam age. If she were ever given the choice to live in another period, she said she would happily choose the Sangam period. I have a passion for poetry. A.K. Ramanujan's translations of Sangam poetry are not just about love and nature, but also war and heroism. They also convey the harsh realities of life, which also resonate with the modern age, she said. Dr. Ratnam said Dr. Lakshman's book had not just paused on the so-called glorious periods of the Palwas, Pandavas, Cholas and Cheras, but also brought out the inequities, violence and atrocities of those periods. She asked Dr. Lakshman about the serving Jain community of the time, speaking of her multiple visits to Sita Navasar, a small hamlet in Pudukkottai district of Tamil Nadu. Dr. Lakshman recalled the beauty of the painted paintings on the ceilings, much like in Ajanta, and said it transformed her idea of what Jainism was. The book equally talks of a syncretic reason, Dr. Ratnam said the book explores the multiple strands of faith. Vedic religion, the Bhakti movement, Jainism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity and Judaism. Tamilakam was always welcoming and accommodating. Reason, Dr. Lakshman said. There was a Tamil spirit of being open to diverse cultures and adapting to them, adopting them and making them their own. Nothing was lost, but a lot was gained. As an example, she spoke of Muslims, traders, some of the finest scholarship on Tamil literature came from Tamil Muslim scholars. They were Tamil by birth and Muslim by faith, she said. Dr. Lakshman said how there was stress, how there was a peaceful movement to Islam. A lot of traders carried women on the western coast. Subsequently, they settled along the coast. For these portions, she said she was assisted by an academic and documentary filmmaker Comboy, Anwar and scholars Raja. Muhammad in Turkey, she highlighted the journey of the Italian Jesuit Christ Roberto de Neboli to India as an example of assimilation. He realized that the best way was to not impose any particular way thinking on the local people. He were a Gandhi and Vibhuti, he said. The conversation was peppered with anecdotes, including the history of sambar, the ubiquitous dish with tamarind drop originated in the kitchens of the Tanjavur Maratha kingdom. Dr. Lakshman said, rulers wanted to learn and establish themselves in the south. The ruler Sambhaji was interested in cooking, so it came from their pots. The speakers then discussed how Tamil Nadu played a major role in the nationalist movement, with Mahatma Gandhi visiting the region several times. In fact, he started wearing his loin clothing. Madurai, Dr. Lakshman said, the idea of Gandhi caught fire and were conveyed by telegram and newspapers. The whole country was entranced during that period. There were tales of heroism, such as of the fighter Vilpandya, Goman, reform movements such as widow remarriage and celebration of Dev Dasi and tragedies, all taking place simultaneously at the same time. The Dravidian movement was born with the formation of the Justice Party, as there was a consciousness that Brahmins had cornered education and jobs, Dr. Lakshman said. A writer like Sujata will come only once in 100 years. Writer Sujata was unique, versatile, prolific and thoroughly knowledgeable, and peoples like him would only come once in 100 years, said filmmaker Rajiv Menon at Hindu Literature for Life on Sunday. In conversation with film critic Bhardwaj Ranjan on the topic Memories of a Collaboration with writer Sujata, the filmmaker said, Sujata sir had both a sense of humor and in-depth knowledge of writing emotional and powerful dialogues for movies. He had the ability to merge 4 to 6 ideas in one scene. Any emotion set up in one scene would increase in the other, and then it flowers in the next scene. That understanding of emotion is very important. Mr. Menon also lauded Sujata's witty narrative and meticulous dialogue. A reason to live and the recipe for happiness in life. Ikigai is the Japanese word for a reason to live. Spanish author Francesc Miralles describes it as being happily busy to wake up every morning happily and do what was valued for yourself and the world, unraveling the mysteries of a happy life in a conversation with Vasudha Rai at the Hindu Literature for Life. Mr. Miralles, co-authors of the once told book Ikigai with Hector Garcia, offered ways for leaders to discover what truly matters to them and to live lives filled with purpose and joy. Physical and mental wellness starts from the mind. When you put too many things on the table of life, you get stressed and anxious. Doing less things with all attention and love puts you in a state of natural flow and makes you happy, said the author whose book has been translated into 70 languages. Veganism, blood spot, and grey shades of cactus. Authors Nandini Krishnan and Kanan Iyer, who are co-authoring the Sun to be released Doom series, spoke about the grey shades of the protagonists and villains, some of whom are eco-terrorists, 10th century kings and drug journalists, and the Hindu Literature for Life. They spoke on veganism, the use of fossil fuels, and protecting animals, introducing the audience to their upcoming book. The duo explained the plot and personalities through diagrams, lectures, and cartoons. Ms. Nandini said, added that in the present day, the animals who are being treated terribly and brutally murdered would rather become extinct instead of facing difficult ends. The two authors said they hope to build a conversation around climate changes while discussing the grey shades of people regarded as heroes and villains. Mankind needs a mix of capitalism and socialism, says Jenny Erpenbeck. East Berlin-born writer Jenny Erpenbeck waited 30 years to write about the fall of the Berlin Wall and the changes that it brought to a region, German Democratic Republic or East Germany, which ceased to exist as a country. In a conversation with historian Era Mukherjee, M.S. Erpenbeck and Michael Hoffman, who translated her international Booker Prize winning novel Carols into English, unraveled the reasons why it took so long to tell a story close to her heart. At a session titled Love in the Time of Uncertainty at the Hindu Literature for Life, M.S. Erpenbeck said the issue was too close for comfort and that writing a novel about the transition that was taking place in her country needed some distance. She was busy taking part in everything, facing new things and new rules. I was busy making a living, she contended, pointing out that adjusting to the new system which came as a surprise and a shock took time. She recites the story of heroes a few years before the fall of Berlin Wall and the destructive love story between 19-year-olds Catherine and 15. Something old Hans MS Alpenberg said that in a way the division of Germany gave the structure to the Pope. To the two parts mirroring each other, the good and the bad of a love story and the world divided Berlin. Mr. Hoffman, whose parents left East Germany in the 1950s, said he found the details outlined by MS Alpenbank and Lashley fascinating. The translation he said also gave him an opportunity to bring to English readers an experience of post-war Germany, which they are not aware of, where everything seems to be in a flux. Asked why, after renunciation post 1989, there seems to be a hurry to erase East German memories. MS Alpenberg said the process to make a united memory after 40 years of split history between East and West Germany